And we're live! This is episode 200 of the Crafty Boys podcast.
Yeah.
And that means that we're officially experts in all things having to do with beer. This is very.
They said that we'd never get here. They said that we would only last till like 195.
That we were going to fail. There was going to be just a bad seed all around. But you know what? We showed them. And guess what? What's even better is that all four people are here. So introduce yourselves, boys.
I'm Alan. I'm in Victoria.
Locke, I'm in Toronto.
Dave,
Where are you, Dave?
The wilds of the middle of Vancouver Island.
And I am, of course, Shane. I am in Vancouver. This means that we're spanning the entire country. Well, almost the entire country. We just need someone in the Maritimes and someone on the prairies to really... Dave, you're moving to the prairies. That's just how it's going to be. Where do you think? Winnipeg?
I'm not sure how I feel about this.
Actually, Brandon. Brandon is a perfect place. I hear it's gorgeous.
It's
Actually, how many people live in Birtle?
Probably 200.
There you go, Dave. That's where you're moving to. We will have to get you some satellite internet, and you'll have to start eating cows, like full on, like they walk by your table and you just eat right off of them. That's what I hear goes on in the prairies anyway. But for episode 200, this week's beer, we chose it a couple of weeks ago. This has been sitting in my fridge. There were 4 cans initially. They have completely dwindled down to this last can. But this is actually the Reforest Hazy IPA. And Alan, this is actually a couple of breweries, decided that they should get together and do something. Who did it?
One brewery.
What?
So this is Stanley Park Brewing, but it's a collaboration with Tentree in Vancouver. So Tentree they make ethically sourced garments and stuff, and for every garment sold, they plant a tree. So with buying this beer, you will be part of planting over 170,000 trees in areas of British Columbia that have been ravaged by wildfires in recent years. So that's kind of a really cool initiative here by Stanley Park Brewing and Tentree. So if you want to support that kind of initiative, definitely go out and buy this beer. It's available at BC liquor stores around the province, but only for a limited time. So pick it up. And like Shane says, you get 4 in a pack. I've had 2. I'm going to save my comments for when we open this one here. But what do you say? Shall we open it?
Let's do it, because it's the year of the Hazy IPA, which I'm seeing everywhere. And I expect that when we go to Beer Fest, in a week and a bit time, Dave, that it's going to be a Hazy IPA dominated scene, I think.
Well, we will talk about that. But for right now.
So check that out. It's a nice color.
Being as I'm on the other side of the country and Canada does not have a free trade agreement with itself, I can't here right now. But so let me comment on the image. The can looks very contemporary.
It does.
Yes, it has that sort of multi-level thing going on where you can see little tiny trees are being planted at the very bottom, and the great forest in the background.
It's very graphic.
We roasted a brand very recently for having a simple design that was just flat planes of color. What we decided, if you will recall, was that it was like somebody was misusing Corel Draw.
Yeah.
This is the other side of that line. This is where you take simple design principles and you can see that they've done it effectively. And what do you think the difference is?
You had the context of the conversation we're having about that brewery was that they already had an established brand And for a very new brewery, that's very important that you're identifiable just by glancing at your product. And they changed the brand in such a way that they made it look very similar to other brands. They already had a strong logo. They just threw that out. They already had a strong feeling for their cans. I did see some new cans in the liquor store a little 2 days ago, and I actually had to hunt for it. I didn't notice that it was because I was consciously going, I should always be looking for Bomber to see how it is, melding with everybody else. And I walked right by it like 3 times because it looked like every other can. So it's really sad that they did that. And, I'm highly critical of it because I thought their initial brand, which was only a few years old, it wasn't like it was like a 30-year brand that wasn't making sales. It was a very new brand. So
let's bring this around to what's different about this.
Well, I'd say that this isn't a rebrand. So this is Stanley Park Brewing. Stanley Park Brewing is still keeping their same branding. This is a very tentree is about simplification, and so this kind of
tentree's identity that's going on there than
possibly. Yes,
yeah.
It does. Okay. And in the packaging, it comes in a 4-pack, and that 4-pack isn't held together with rings or anything like that. It is a recycled cardboard that it's not even a box. It just kind of like it holds the 4 cans together. It's sort of like a little bit of a frame, and that's all.
I thought it looked really cool, actually.
It is really cool. I did see somebody on social media criticize Stanley Park Brewing for going that route, saying that, why have a container at all? And they said, well, we got to have a container. We got to sell them in 4-packs. And this was the most environmentally friendly way that we could think of to do it, unless somebody else has a better idea.
Yeah, technically cans are more environmentally friendly than bottles.
Yeah. So, but getting to the beer itself here, smelling it, I mean, it smells incredible.
It does.
I'm getting a very citrusy kind of aroma, which you would expect from this. And when you taste it, oh my God, the flavor, it just pops in your mouth. Some hazy IPAs I've had have kind of felt like they're watered down IPAs. Not this at all. This tastes very juicy. It's got that right kick, but not too much of a kick. I think this is something that Dave could get his taste buds around, as somebody who doesn't really like IPAs too much. What do you guys think?
Dave, will you confirm or deny?
I will confirm. My taste buds are indeed wrapping themselves around this, as it were.
They are.
Yes.
Interesting.
I'm finding though that after a mere, what is it, 4 years, 4.5 years? My taste buds are wrapping themselves around the beer concept in general.
Right.
Because I'm now actually finding I'm enjoying, different flavors a bit more than I did back before I started.
Right.
Which is kind of cool.
No, that's
Shane,
good because we have to break you of that Radler addiction.
Yes. Shane, what are your thoughts?
I have to say that this is my second one in the last couple of weeks. And the aromatics is really the thing that speaks of volumes to me because when you're smelling it, you smell like it's how you have IPAs that when you breathe them in, if you are familiar with the different sort of scents of different types of hops, the smell is there's one dominating hop in here that I did actually read somewhere the name of it, but I don't see it on the can. But it is very, very pleasant. It is not overpowering. It is powerful, but it's not punching us in the gut. No. So, or punching us in the uvula. Is that the thing at the back of the throat? But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a Fat Tug, where Fat Tug has a very powerful hop sense to it. but it also has some very particular. I don't know what hop it is. I'm sure I could look it up, but I'm too lazy to do it. But essentially, it's that aromatic hop at the very end that really makes it tasty. So this one I give a huge thumbs up to because this is kind of to me it feels like there's some citra in there as well as some other things, but whatever that hop is at the end, that's the fills the nose.
Let me tell you, my fear with this beer before I had my first one is that the way they're marketing it with the whole the trees and all that kind of stuff, I figured that was what you were buying, and the beer itself would probably be crap.
Really?
I was pleasantly surprised that that's not the case. The beer is quite tasty. I would buy this even without the environmental aspect of it. This is a really good beer, and I wish it wasn't a limited run because it's they say on their website it's only available until September, so not too much longer. And I would drink this year round if it was available.
Yeah. I say the same thing because it's very much that it's I don't want to say it's a fat tug competitor, but that flavor definitely they've done something that I guess the Driftwood does that I just can't in their process of making their beer.
It's important to note that this is a hazy IPA, not an IPA.
True.
So it's two different things. I don't think you can compare it with Fat Tug because it's apples and oranges. Or maybe it's a difference. It's difference between like mandarins and what's another kind of orange. Yeah, navels. Yes. And some other kind of word.
Like some other word that I seem to remember was in the English language that I'm sure would be great for the something. Overall I give it a thumbs up, and I especially appreciate the fact that that in theory I somehow have drank my way to planting trees, and I'm not like running around the mountainside with a shovel and a bag of seedlings, because that would just
I am curious about one thing. I do note that on their website, if you go to their website about this beer, you can actually quote unquote claim your trees, and you can enter your name and your email address, but I don't know what that does.
Do the trees send you letters?
I don't know. These aren't starving kids in the Sudan. I mean,
I'm doing so well out here in the forest.
Maybe that's what they got. They got people at Stanley Park Brewing and Tentree that are writing letters purported to be from trees to people claimed their trees. Maybe they send you in the mail a bunch of trees for you to plant.
Back in the day, when I was a very small child, I remember going to like the BC Forestry Museum or something somewhere, or some sort of forestry related thing, and you got to when you left, they gave you a seedling to plant, and the seedlings that I got, I think, were blue spruce or whatever that is called, and I planted it in a pot for many, many years. And then about, I don't know, 10 years later, I think I must have been in my late teens or so, I remember taking it and going, you know what, it's not doing so well in the pot. It's grown, fairly large, but not huge. And then I planted it out behind my parents' home. And over the last about, I would say 30 years, maybe just about, so maybe 25, the thing is now 80 feet high. It's exploded in size, and every time I go to visit, I always go back to check it out. Sorry,
they grow up so fast.
I know it's soon gonna leave home and never call me again. But yeah, I mean, I was kind of impressed because of the whole it's the one thing on this planet that I hope will remember me when I'm gone. Because everyone will eventually pass away, But this tree, in theory, could live for hundreds and hundreds of years. So, hopefully some idiot doesn't cut it down. But so that's pretty much the only plant I've ever planted. So I'm happy that we, have something else to. I can say that there's some tree out there that I, in theory, can claim on their website as having been planted in the name of beer.
I have a tree planting story just briefly here. When I was a kid, I was in the Boy Scouts, and we had to go on an excursion planting trees. I think somewhere out in Souk, in the Souk Hills somewhere. And so it was my first time doing this. Some of the other kids had already done this before. So I go there, and they gave me a tree to go and plant.
Okay.
So and a little shovel, and they sent me off into the woods to go find a place to go and plant this tree. So I did. I dug a little hole. I put it in, buried it, came back, and they were like, "You're done already?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they were like, "We gave you like 25 trees to plant." I thought it was one. So it was this big clump of 25 trees. I had to go back and find it and dig it up and separate them out and put them in 25 different places. I did find it. I did.
That's awesome.
Nice work.
That is totally not what I was expecting.
Was anybody a tree planter as a summer job amongst us?
No, but I know a couple guys that were.
I know a bunch of people that have done it, but
I know some people, but I've never done it myself. You, Locke?
No, never have. Interesting. Okay, this is. I think it's rare that you get 4 Canadians. Not one of them's ever been a tree planter, but I dated plenty of them. But yeah,
I played a lot of video games while people went out and planted trees.
I did stuff.
I made it to level 30 of Mario Brothers.
Oh, the new addictive phone game, the new addictive phone app. It's going to be Tree Planter. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Wouldn't that be cool if you actually planted the trees and then somebody had to go out? They're like, "How many people are what? We need some more seedlings, Bob. Like we've got to get these trees in. These people are playing this game, and no, I'm sorry. It's not no." Bob, no, we're gonna do this right, Bob. I could see that fight happening. I don't know why.
So, other news: Beer Fest. It's coming up. It's coming up in a week and a half here. A couple of things that we should note. So, Shane, I know Dave doesn't, and maybe you too, Locke. If you guys have tokens from previous years, either blue or green.
Tokens.
Why are you laughing?
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. No. The Beer Fest and I had all these tokens and I just I'd had enough of beer, so I just kept the tokens. That's what happened.
Yeah. In your face,
you know what? I have come home and emptied out my pockets and found that I had a couple of tokens in there that I didn't even know that I had.
Which suggests how far gone you.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so you can use them this year, but this is the last year that you'll be able to do that. That is because there's new tokens being issued this year. They're red. They're going to have the Victoria Beer Society logo on them. And from now on, after this year, those will be the only ones accepted. So if you have blue ones or green ones from previous years, you have to use them this year, or you lose out on them.
So
sad. Yeah, it is kind of sad, but oh well. And the beer list came out.
Okay.
Now this thing there's going to be over 250 beers at Beer Fest this year. Mm-hmm. Almost 100 breweries from across Canada.
Okay.
Now I made some highlights here that that interest me, and I thought maybe I would share them with you a little bit. So now this is one that Shane I think would be into having. We've had this kind of before. It's from Red Racer, who will be in booth number 10. It's their after hours old-fashioned cocktail pale ale, which was voted Canada's beer of the year for 2018, I believe. So Shane and I kind of had that in the Advent calendar this past Christmas, and it was our favorite beer from the pack. So that is going to be at Beer Fest. From Smithers Brewing, there's going to be a nitro coffee lager, which I thought was kind of interesting.
That one I'm interested to try.
From Tatamagouche, which is from, I believe, Nova Scotia, they have a Toro Bourbon barrel-aged quad.
Interesting.
Trading Post is going to have a barrel-aged Low Country Pale Ale. There's going to be a lot of casks, too. And the cool thing about the casks is they sometimes will have a different one on Friday than on Saturday. So it kind of pays to go to both days if that's something that you're into. I can't handle that myself, so I just go to the one day. But Mount Aerosmith is going to have a Blackberry Porter cask. Hoyne is going to have a gin and juice cask.
I mean,
Category
you have
12.
my attention.
Mm-hmm. Category 12 is going to have a bourbon whiskey sour cask.
That sounds like something that Category 12 would do well.
Yes. And Crossroads is going to have a peanut butter cup stout cask.
Okay.
I'm kind of intrigued about that one. And then the beer that I think sounds the weirdest. This is a brewery I've never heard of before. It's called Howl Brewing. And it's a reishi mushroom hibiscus lager.
I know
That sounds intense.
Howl are. Howl. Howl Brewing is alumni from Spinnakers.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're actually, their brewery is up near where up by the airport. I'm trying to think of where, like, I drove by it not too long ago.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's really.
I'm going to try
I want
it.
to say they're really new, but I'm not sure.
No. Good people doing interesting things. That's worth checking out.
I mean, a mushroom hibiscus lager. I mean, that sounds.
If any
interesting.
make that happen, it's Howl.
Okay. And one other one that I want to mention, which is also a cask, it's Moon Underwater, is going to be having their year 7 a cask. It's a barrel-aged wheat wine.
Do you remember when Moon Underwater were doing low alcohol beers because they thought maybe that was the new market?
Yes. Yeah. And then they changed ownership.
Oh, is that what happened? Okay.
But
a wheat wine, actually, a wheat wine that can be a fascinating thing. Like, everybody knows barley wines, sort of, it's
right.
Potentially, a barley wine can be everything from rubbish malt liquor, like in a 40 to something kind of classy. But a wheat wine, the ones that I've had have all been fairly notable. Notes of sort of plum pudding, kind of cherries, things that you wouldn't expect from wheat necessarily.
Right. Okay. All right.
Cool.
So, I mean, and there's a lot of other stuff on the list that looks really good, but those are the ones that kind of jumped out at me. So I guess the point I'm making is there is a lot of variety this year. And especially one thing I'm noticing is the local breweries who tend to do nothing special for this, so people stay away from them. Are doing a lot of special things.
Mm. Cool. Glad to hear it.
I'm kind of impressed.
They realized they had to get their shit together because they had so many more other people around them this year that if they want to get eyeball.
And you know what? I mean, but it's like that every year. So I don't know what's different this year. What would cause them to, the locals to do a little bit more?
Well, I think,
but they are.
I think part of it is there. I'm guessing wildly, but my suspicion is that with the change of ownership of the Great Canadian Beer Fest, that the old society dissolved and turned it over to beer. What are they called?
The Victoria Beer Society.
Beer Society. Because we saw that steady decline of the number of breweries going to it, right? So by the because it was. What was last year? Was last year actually a climb of a few? I think maybe it was.
It was actually. They were in the mid 60s. I don't remember the exact.
Now we have like 100-ish. I just think that there's been a resurgence of that thing because Victoria itself has had. We went to that December beer thing, which I cannot remember the name of. Is that happening again this year?
Christmas Craft Beer Fest.
That one.
That hasn't been announced.
But there was also another one around the same time, which was downtown somewhere, which I thought of going to last year because I thought the Christmas one was okay a couple of years back, but I wasn't wowed by it because the big thing with these beer festivals is that I gather for a long time, sort of in the historical sort of sense of these sort of get-togethers, was they gave the beer away for free. Because they wanted people to try their product. That was kind of the thing. And now it's become more of this sort of commercialized deal. But now you're seeing so many of them being done that I think people, the audience, and maybe even the breweries themselves, like, I can't, Guy, we get back in the brew room. We're not going to that thing next week. Come on, that kind of thing. Especially when you have a lot of craft breweries that are starting up and with them having to keep up with their shipments to like BC Liquor Store, for example, which I gather is a very whip driven. If you want to be in our stores, you got to have certain numbers and give them to us now. So, but I think that I'm hoping that this is sort of a resurgence and we start seeing it for Beer Fest to keep up these numbers of all these things, especially since the bulk of them locally are having to compete with the people coming in from out of town. So it's not illegal to mail beer to people. So if I had one of these cans left, I would mail it to Ontario and lock and have some. But I think
or maybe I just need to get a plane ticket. I don't think I'm going to make that happen. But
no, it's a huge ask, but it was worth asking, I think.
Yeah. Look, I think it's great that Victoria is putting on probably the killer beer fest in Canada. It's only doing good things for Victoria's standard of brewing. Victoria needs to stay competitive because Victoria breweries are awesome. And so there's every reason for them not to be afraid of being host to a lot of other very competitive breweries from around the country. Excellent stuff.
Well, did you guys see CNN put out, not this past week, but the week before, just after our last show, they put out a list of the top 15 beer cities in the world. Mm-hmm. And Victoria's on that list.
Oh, wow.
Of course it's on that list. Yeah.
Which by the way,
and there was also a warning that went out that said that people should be careful because watching the Crafty boys, it's addictive.
That's true. I mean, we're 200 in. I mean, our numbers are just exploding. I mean, thousands upon thousands are watching us every single week. But by the way, speaking of Victoria breweries, this is just a bit of an anecdote. A client came over the other day, and I happened to have a Spinnaker's growler things hanging on the wall, and they were like, "Oh, Spinnaker's! Oh my god!" And then they just started raving about how much they love Spinnaker's. So there you go. There's a Spinnaker's fan out there who was, I think, a little unhinged but we'll never watch this show. So there you go. So you're unhinged, sir. You are unhinged. I mean, when Dave gets going, holy crap, the world just explodes.
Look out, baby.
That's right, Dave. You know, Dave, your subtlety is the best thing about you. She's like, watch out, baby. But by the way, I just claimed my trees. Apparently I guess I claimed 10 trees or something under my name. I don't know what happens with my name after that, but there you go.
Maybe somebody carves your name into the trees.
That would be counterproductive, wouldn't it? Like these little tiny, trunks on these little tiny seedlings. Like,
I have a feeling they'd have to wait a few years for that.
They laser etch them with some high-powered, very precise thing. So when the tree grows, your initials get bigger and bigger and bigger. Are you sure this guy's initials are BEWBS? Yes, they are. Okay. Boobs. Locke, tell us what your equivalent of Reforest, the Hazy IPA action going on over there in Toronto.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just drinking steam whistle.
Well, no, but you've seen them around. Like this is the year of the Hazy IPA, or am I completely wrong?
Oh no, this is Toronto. Ontario punishes beer drinkers.
What?
Yeah, no, I mean there's a little bit of that action, not a lot. I mean, such as hazy IPAs are a thing. A lot of it's Lapulin powder around here, these parts, which to me is not. I mean, we know about hop emulsification. That's to me exciting. Lapulin powder is putting powdered hops in your beer. Makes it a little bit closer to craft dinner. I don't know. I for whatever reason, I just can't get behind Lapulin powder.
I can see that.
Yeah, there is stuff going on. I mean, the most exciting thing, really, in Ontario, in terms of sort of the larger to medium larger players, is that Steam Whistle are now doing a pale ale. The can looks like this, except it's blue.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that unusual for them?
Yes, it's unusual for them because up until now they've been a one-product brewery. Now, as far as a one-product brewery goes, I mean, as a Pilsner, it's good. It's it's got a little bit of a Czechoslovakian kind of a feel, and that's what you kind of like out of a Pilsner, I think.
I would drink it.
Yeah. I mean, they used to sponsor a lot of live music, and as a result, I kind of got sick of it for a while because I was getting paid in them. But that said, like it's as for this style of beer, it's thoroughly respectable. So the fact that they bridged out into a pale ale, I think is I don't think they've done it uncautiously. They've spent plenty of time meditating on what they might do next, and so but we will save it for a later episode to give that a try, because unlike so many other beers that we will do on this show, this one we can actually all get at the same time. So this is planned for that. Yes.
Hey, I'm game for that.
Yeah. Let me see. What else can I say about Ontario beer right now? There's some people. There's good people doing good things, but they're under the weight of a system that looks sort of Soviet in its application. Like we've talked about the beer store in the past. It's archaic and weird, and I suspect if you were in St. Petersburg, it would be, you would be able to go into a store and buy beer. So why you would have like select from wall, have it roll out on an aluminum, it's bizarre. It really is.
Orange will save them all.
Some stage set from the Cold War. It's weird, but Flying Monkeys in Barrie, still doing good work. They're somebody I like.
It's funny you mentioned them because Oh, sorry. Sorry, just really quickly.
I
you
believe
mentioned
that they
them.
are at Beer Fest this year.
I was just gonna say, yeah, because I saw them on Twitter the other day.
I like what they do. Yeah.
Somebody, a
Just-
friend of mine in Guelph actually went through Flying Monkeys recently, and they had some very positive things to say because they drove out of their way to go to their brewery. They're between Hamilton and Toronto. Is that right?
No.
I'm sorry.
Other than
It's
they're
not
north of
Flying
Toronto.
Monkeys.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry, Flying Monkeys is not at Beer Fest. It is a different brewing company called Monkey 9 Brewing that will be there.
Monkey Nine. Okay.
That is too bad.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, they're in Brandon apparently.
Monkey Nine are in Brandon, Manitoba.
Flying Monk. Did I say Brandon? Barry. Sorry,
No.
Barry, Ontario. Sorry, Barry. Brandon, Barry. You know, it's all the same thing. The provinces are right next to each other. I mean, come on.
You know, it's whatever. It's one of those ghettos east of the Rockies.
That's right. There's these mountains here that sort of, that keeps out the Hun invaders from the prairies and back east. So, it works very well.
Yeah.
Except Dave, who goes to Deschutes Brewery this week without taking any of us.
Dave,
You know what? That was okay. All right.
After
All
I
right.
spent 3 years in Portland, now you're going.
Okay. Here's
You won't go to Beer Fest.
fucking chill out.
Hey, Dave.
Here's the thing.
Dave, watch this. Pause for a second.
A year
I'm not done
anniversary
yet.
trip. This was a year anniversary trip that my girlfriend and I went on.
Don't care, Dave.
And we said, okay, we want to go down to Portland. That's where we'll stop this time, and then we'll come back north. So we went, whether or not you believe me, I don't give a shit. We went to Powell's Books.
Yeah. Of course.
All right.
I've been there many times. I signed my own books there once.
Nice.
Nice.
Very cool.
I happened to be down there and I walked in. I'm like, hi, this is my name. I want to see where my books are. And they were like, oh, okay. So we went off and I had to go to the second building next door, I gather. I think it was like it was the main bookstore, but all of the tech stuff was over in the other building across the street. So I waltzed over there and I'm
Powell's is amazing.
Oh yeah, I found a bunch of books that I could not get up here down there for I've forgotten what they were, like some Orson Scott Card stuff or something.
Did you go to their rare books section? Because I've seen crazy stuff there. First edition Tolkien is just the tip of the iceberg. They've got stuff from the 16th century.
What?
They have a very cool rare books collection there.
Wow. Unfortunately,
and for sale if you have the
Yeah. Unfortunately, when we were there, that room was closed.
Man.
We did see it.
Okay. Yeah.
It was pointed out.
Did you get anything though?
Oh, did I get anything there? I spent almost 100 US there.
Oh wow, nice.
Does that answer your question? I walked out angry because I could not buy all the things.
But how many breweries did you go to?
Okay, so this is why. Okay, here's where I tell you, gentlemen, the story. We went to Deschutes because I said, hey, the guys would probably ride me for the next fucking century if I didn't go to Deschutes because we're only a couple of blocks away. Fortunately, my lady says, okay, let's do this. So we went down there.
Just to keep your friends off your back, right?
Just to keep my friends off my back. That was entirely what the story was. So I actually, she's awesome. She made fucking notes when I had beers. I had several. This was not the only place we visited. So give me a second here so I can pull this shit up and see.
Okay.
Here we go. So, Locke, you may or may not know this one. At Deschutes, I had the Black Velvet Thunder CDA.
What is that? That sounds awesome. And why am I not having it right now?
It was beautiful. Hang on. I need to, because I think I took a picture of the menu for that one. So just give me a moment.
Mhm.
Oh shit! I think
Shane,
that-
sing a number while he's looking it up.
I like beer. Beer is the best thing ever. I think you should drink beer. If you don't
okay.
drink beer, your life will suck.
Yeah, totally. Oh no, maybe I didn't.
Mute his microphone now.
You can just make stuff up and pretend that they're your notes.
Yeah.
Then I got into the IPAs because I was down there drinking the IPAs too, right? So I got into the monkey butt crack one, and it was pretty good. It had a lot of really good stuff in it. And then after I had that one, I went over to the tidal pool cesspool one. Yeah, that was great. I had that one too. It was awesome. And then after I had that one, I mean, it was short, but after
Okay.
I tried to pour off, I went and had the cut myself beer. Yeah, it
right,
doesn't
so-
sound as bad.
Here's my notes. Anyways, unfortunately, I should have taken a picture of the damn menu, but I didn't. So there are some notes. It's a mix of porter and IPA.
Oh,
Cascadian Dark
Wow.
Ale. Cascadian Dark Ale. Sorry.
yes.
Very dark amber. It was really neat. Lots of citrus there, obviously.
Yeah.
Made a note. Nice and smooth. That was what got me. It was beautifully smooth. This one, yeah.
Yeah.
What I claimed was it had the IPA brightness and the porter body.
Really?
It was really fun. And the food, oh my god.
Yeah,
they do a good
God.
job there.
down
They
there.
do a good job there. I'm sure Locke
Yeah.
was in there regularly when you were down there for
Mhm.
university. It was busy. Holy shit, there was people everywhere. It was cool. It was super cool. I loved it. They had these really neat carved gates in there, 4
Yeah.
of them.
The woodwork is great, isn't it?
Yeah, right. And the people seemed to be pretty cool.
Mhm.
The guy was helpful about choosing our food and the beer. Of course, there was probably, what would you say, Locke, like 15, 20 choices at any given time.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, they don't do like a crazy menu, but it's
No.
choices. They sort of depend a little on what's available at the time.
Yeah.
My favorite dish is the venison burger, but they don't always have that.
Ooh, right.
Mm.
Yeah, I did not do that. I did it was some kind of it was like a pulled pork with grits, as they call them down there.
Okay.
Nice.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Anyways, whatever, we don't care about the food. The other interesting thing was Sisu honey orange lager. And Locke, you may or may not have heard of Sisu.
No, I have no idea what that is, but it sounds delicious.
Yeah, well, this I had at a place called Dundee's in Seaside, which is out on the coast.
Okay.
Came with an orange slice, which is very interesting for a beer.
Yeah.
I like this one too. It was light. It was very light because it's a lager, right?
So not like a wit lager or something.
Usually
No,
they
it was
put
a deeper
fruit in those
color.
kinds of things.
Huh. Okay.
I want
it
to
had
point
a-
out one thing, Dave. Did you go in there and ask for Radler at any time? Just asking.
I did not. I did
Okay.
not.
Just making sure.
It wasn't even an option, dude.
I wouldn't want you to be laughed out of a brewery in Portland of all places. I mean, you'd walk in there and be like, yes, yes, got any of these? And then, no, that just wouldn't
He
work.
probably walked in. He's like, "Give me your beer with the lowest alcohol content."
Do you make
No,
beer
it
without
was,
hops or
Do you,
beer
do you
making
have
stuff?
like?
Do you have
Do you
water?
have Budweiser Prohibition?
I would really like to have a. I wrote this down in my notes. Do you have a 40? That was only like 6 episodes ago that we suffered through the big old 40. The malt liquor episode, as I like to call it.
Yes. Well, the last one, which I will mention, the last beer I had, because that was the only thing we had. Now, this was completely stumbled upon because we ended up going, Shane, you'll dig this. Actually, maybe all 3 of you will. we
Nice.
went to Cannon Beach,
Okay.
and
Did you find beer on the beach?
did find beer on the beach. It was at Pelican Brewing. A cool
Sorry,
place.
why you totally froze the moment you were saying that. Repeat what you just
Fuck.
said.
Pelican Brewing.
Okay. Yeah.
You've heard of them, Luck?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went into the brewery because we stumbled across this place. I'm like, ooh, okay. It looked very cool. So I even got this little guy here as
Nice.
a souvenir.
Hey, well done.
It's beautiful. It's freaking beautiful. I asked because I was like, oh my God, you got to be fucking kidding me. They probably had 20 beers on tap, at least. And the food again was impressive. And this one was the C in red, so C in red, but spelled SEA in red.
Cool.
And it was an amber, red, and brown ale. It was really nice. I noticed it had a little more of edge than I guess that honey orange that I'd had because that was the note that's here. I said it was kind of peppery, and I thought maybe it was because of the carbonation. Does that make sense? Carbonation might bring out a little more.
Having that kind of mouthfeel.
I figured it was kind of a bit of a sweetness to it, toffee notes. Pretty smooth. And that was it, really. Again, we stumbled across it. I was not planning any of this shit because we were just kind of going by the seat of our pants.
Yeah, no, well, you look, in Oregon, you do tend to stumble across the occasional brewery,
Right? You totally do. Obviously, the whole scene down there is alive and well, which is really nice to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was, I mean, even at this Dundee's, the choices were mental. I did take a picture of the offerings there, and it was, oh God, 30 or 40 choices, I swear, on their menu. The interesting thing was they were from all over the state and even a couple from out of state. It was really interesting.
Oh yeah,
But very few full on local. And I found it interesting that they completely didn't do say what were the two big hitters would be like Deschutes and I want to say Russell. That's not right, is
I'm
it?
going to say Rogue.
No. Rogue.
Rogue, thank you.
Rogue, yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe that this Dundee's, which was had a bit of flavor of Big Bad John's, which our listeners
Nice.
maybe not know, but you three I think would know.
Yeah.
That kind of struck me that way. I mean, they didn't go to the bras on the wall and the peanut shells on the floor,
Okay.
but they had that sort of a vibe. I thought good food, and it looked like a really nice selection of a number of for whatever you wanted to do. Right, plenty of IPAs and different types, whatever you wanted to grab. It was fun. It was good. But I really liked the Pelican. I thought that was a neat find.
Yeah. No. I would say that my local haunt, which is a sports bar, nothing special in terms of like being, but I mean, they stock Pelican brews. I would say at least one on their list most of the time.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Shane, have you ever been to Cannon?
Cannon Beach? Very long time ago. I was just a kid.
Okay.
Although quite honestly, one of the things that I thought would be kind of fun to do with this group of four here is actually do a road trip to bounce around to breweries, just go down to Portland, go and because there's a bunch of breweries in Washington State and even further up BC that I think and into the interior that I think would be kind of fun to do and like do like a couple of weeks or a week or something.
Show over to being like sort of like part Crafty Boys, part like, Top Gear.
Now that would be totally worth it.
We'd probably
but yeah,
get
no.
another 5 viewers.
Whoa! What?
5 whole viewers?
Alan.
No!
Five.
You
We
get
don't
crazy
want
over there, man. Settle
viewers.
down. So what are we gonna do? Is it Top Boys or Crafty Gear?
Ooh, that's a good point.
I like Crafty Gear better than Top.
Yeah.
Crafty Gear.
Yeah.
That sounds very English, doesn't it?
So basically, every episode we're gonna have to shoot it outside and do crazy stunts with beer. I mean, I think so. All right, Dave. Dave, we're gonna have Dave lie down, and what he's gonna do is we're gonna put him on one of those things. You know, they waterboard people on. We're gonna have him on one of those, but it's gonna be moving back and forth like this, and then we're gonna waterboard him, but with beer, because it'll be great. It'll be funny, hilarious. Because Torch is funny.
we can build in a little bit of a MythBusters aspect while we're at it.
All right, everyone. I need everyone to be back behind this line because we're about to explode those 18 cans of beer. Locke, I need you to get on there's 9. There's 18 nails there. I want you to blast them one at a time. Dave, I need you to man all of the high-speed GoPros. We're gonna do this all in slow-mo. Alan and I are just gonna sit behind the shield and drink beer. And
Yeah.
oh my god, that would be, I think that's a show in the making right there. Let's
Okay.
call it Disney.
All right.
Disney can stream it on Disney Plus. It'll be fun. Which reminds me, have you guys been following the whole Disney Plus thing going on?
No.
Because it's both exciting and terrifying at the same time.
Yes.
So you haven't. Well, so Disney Plus, of course, is launching on November 12th. They are going.
Mandalorian.
They are going.
Are they carrying our show?
Sorry.
Are they carrying our show?
No.
No,
Disney
because the
Plus?
problem is we say bad words once in a while, and
And we openly drink alcohol.
which is something you can't do in Disneyland or Disney in general. But Disney, by the way, they're going hardcore after Netflix. They are launching, and their price their price is half of what Netflix is. Of course, you get all of the Disney, Pixar, National Geographic, which I had no idea Disney owned. But also the library of Fox movies, I gather, will be added at some point in the future. But they, of course, are launching their own new series. And I was thinking they're going to have like 2 or 3. No, they've got like a dozen that are going to be starting. And it's going to be very interesting. And I think I might subscribe to it because I'm curious to see what happens with it. Because there's the first show that's going to be available right away is called The Mandalorian, where I don't know much about it except that it's a dude in Mandalorian armor being a bounty hunter doing stuff.
Billy D. Williams.
No, not Billy D. Williams. Action Jackson. What's his name? Is in it?
Oh, Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers. Yeah, in the trailer for The Mandalorian, you actually see him at some point in the trailer.
I thought that was Billy D. Williams.
No. No. Carl Weathers, I'll never forget him because of the Action Jackson film, which,
Me too.
when you...
Even though he played Apollo Creed.
But also he was in Predator, with everybody else that was in that film. But there's also going to be a whole bunch of Marvel films, Marvel series.
Seriously?
There's one that's going to be based on Loki, because in the last film, in Endgame, Loki. If you haven't seen it, there's a moment where Loki is able to escape and grab one of the Infinity Stones and disappear. That is the basis for his show. He's now going to be doing whatever the hell. Loki, of course, being in the Thor world. There's going to be one called WandaVision, which is going to be Scarlet Witch and what's his pickle? The guy with the Infinity Stone in his forehead.
Rory Calhoun?
The Rory Calhoun? I said Rory Calhoun.
Do they drink beer?
Oh my God, what is his name?
Thanos.
Not Thanos.
I don't
Oh
know.
my
I don't watch the
Lord.
Marvel stuff.
Anyway, so they're also going to be redoing Home Alone at some point. I don't know why. Of all the things they should stay away from, that's one of them. She-Hulk, Moon Knight, Ms. Marvel. There's going to be a new Obi-Wan Kenobi series that, of course, is starring Ewan McGregor.
So it sounds like it's gonna be like,
Reuters.
aside from a couple of good series, it sounds like it's going to be a bunch of crap.
It's also going to include everything from ABC because Disney owns them. So we're talking like Modern Family, Grey's Anatomy, all this kind of stuff that you're going to see on those things. But the thing that I think is interesting is that they're actually going to insist that people do not binge. They are only going to release new series weekly, as if they were in being broadcast. So I think that's kind of nice of them. But of course, once the show has been broadcast or whatever, you can binge all you want. But everything in the Disney archive supposedly is going to be available. So if you're a Disney fanatic, you'll be able to watch from.
Is it going to be
way
available
back
in
when.
Canada?
Oh yeah, no, it's available in Canada. From what I understand, what I've read, it does say they're going to do. But the one show that this is all a lead up to the horrible things that we're going to have to endure. Remake of Lady and the Tramp. Which I don't know why they're doing that. Something to do with a bunch of other crap I don't care about. But the thing that I'm excited about is called The World According to Jeff Goldblum. This has got to be the brainchild of somebody that needs to be paid more. Where basically all it really is cameras following Jeff Goldblum stumbling into whatever adventures he gets into. So of all the things, that is the most exciting thing that I think is going to be amazing.
Good Lord. God help
More
us all.
exciting than Mandalorian.
Mandalorian is going to be exciting. But we also have, we've got the Clone Wars are going to be continuing as a show. All of the current animated shows are going to be doing stuff. There's apparently going to be some brand new Star Wars animated shows coming. There's going to be.
Make you want to take up hiking.
There's as Locke leaves the room. The one other thing is Marvel has a show coming apparently in the summer of 2021 called What If, where I think it's animated, but it's going to be characters from the Marvel movies and all that kind of fun stuff that are like going to be doing alternative things. What if Hulk didn't become Hulk and he was purple or something? I don't know. Whatever the shows are about. So that should be interesting. And of course, right off the bat, you're going to be able to watch all of the really fancy new Star Wars things that are coming. So,
Shane, I'm out of beer.
yeah, so am I.
This is
Dave, take off your top.
So, all right.
Yeah, this show just got interesting.
Not
but
in a
Locke's
good
not
way.
here. I don't know where the hell Locke went, but I'm going to pretend to drink beer. But next week, boys and girls, episode 201, we are going to be. We've already picked the beer. We're not telling you what it is. Dave, please tell me you got it.
Indeed.
Excellent. So think Mind Flayer when you're thinking of the beer.
Nice. Nice.
But so that's essentially what we're doing next week. I'm not sure what the beer is after that. I'm not entirely sure, but it is going to be September, and we're going to already start thinking about the whatever Advent calendar we're going to do, because we're hoping there is. Knock on wood. I'm assuming there is. I think they sell well, but maybe not. Locke. Of course, you might not be here next week, considering the time change and all that kind of fun stuff. But thank you for being here, man, because episode 2...
yeah.
I remember like it was yesterday doing episode 100.
I remember like it was yesterday doing episode 1. But I want to thank our 31 subscribers on YouTube
On
for
YouTube.
sticking with us for this long. Thank you. I know that you guys were looking for the Crafty girls and just liked us
Stumbled across
by
us there.
accident. But even still, thank you. And I want to thank Stanley Park Brewing. They didn't sponsor us in any way, but thank them for making this beer.
For making this beer because
Hazy IPA. It's fantastic.
it's a
Pick it up
fantastic
while
beer.
you get a chance.
It's going to be gone soon. I'm also very happy that they worked with the
People at Tentree.
thank you, who are trying to plant trees in Canada, the U.S., and a couple of places in South America, and I think Africa as well. To try and stop, because right now the Amazon is burning. We don't know what to do about it, but eventually we'll not be able to breathe.
The forests are not.
Sorry?
The beer will be gone. Let's hope the forests are not.
Yeah, because the one thing is there's nothing worse than trying to drink beer when you can't, exchange oxygen with your body, so and the air. So hopefully
That sucks.
that will not. Yeah, I have to drink beer and I want to live to at least 100. I mean, come on, really? You're gonna mess this up for me? But thank you all for watching. Thank you for doing your part and telling people about the show and doing all the fun stuff like subscribing and making sure that you send links to your 10 best friends, because if you tell 10 people,
They'll
hopefully-
tell 10 people.
Then hopefully they won't disinherit you.
Then maybe we'll have 41 subscribers.
Especially a big thanks to Locke for showing up, because
Thank you, Locke.
it's like
Yeah.
God, I don't know. It's almost like almost 1:30 in the morning where he is. Dave, thank you for coming. And Alan, of course, as always, take us out. Bye.